The tourism sector has been one of the worst affected by COVID-19 right across the world. There was a glimmer of hope in figures that suggested global tourism experienced a 4% upturn in 2021. Truth is, last year's international tourist arrivals were still 72% below the pre-pandemic year of 2019. In the last few days, some countries, including Sweden, Norway and the UK, have changed their entry requirements for travellers. But across the world, many restrictions are still in place. So what is the outlook for a healthy, happy holiday abroad in 2022? Well, joining me now is Julia Lo Bue-Said, who is the CEO of Advantage Travel Partnership. She keeps a very close eye on global travel trends. So Julia, what do you say? COVID isn't gone, but perhaps we're learning to live with it. Does that mean holidays are back on?
Good afternoon. Well, it's good news in some areas of the world, but exceptionally complicated in others. And also most of the world, actually, if you look at Asia in particular, is still closed for tourism. So a very long way to go. We are seeing small shoots in certain areas and certain markets starting to open up. But by no means is it travel normal patterns as we've seen before.
No. And are there going to be long-term impacts of this pandemic that will live with us long after actually the pandemic is history? I'm thinking, for example, of trends where people perhaps look at holidays closer to home than they ever did before, are less concerned about that long-haul travel that they might have been in the past.
I think it's probably too early to tell. I think we'll certainly see different behaviours. Right now, what we've seen, and pretty much a bit of a global trend, again, depends on where you are. Bookings are very last minute. So bookings typically you would expect for, cool summer months to be coming in a few months in advance. But actually now what we are seeing is travel is being booked as close to departure as possible because there are so many changing rules.
Do you think that the public across the world will now assess what they've learned from COVID when they decide where they want to go? For example, some countries have handled COVID better than others. Some countries have been much harder hit by the pandemic than others. Is that going to factor in to the way bookings trend in the coming months and years?
Certainly the indication is yes, short term. So we're certainly seeing different patterns of behaviour. And actually, when you look at it, how different countries have dealt with the virus and dealt with restrictions in particular, we are seeing the trends moving towards those. But I think, it's certainly a short-term trend. And hopefully, as we start to truly come out of the pandemic globally and more restrictions are eased and more countries open up, we start to see some fallback to kind of normal behaviours.
Julia, I guess your hope in the travel business is that people across the world will value their holidays more than ever before as a result of not being able to travel for pretty much 2 years. Do you think that's true?
I think we've all kind of learned to live in a very different world, haven't we, over the last couple of years, and certainly holidays, but also reuniting with family and friends, traveling for business. It's changed significantly. And I think one thing we've all learned and all understood is the absolute importance of kind of human connections and being with friends and loved ones. So I think, yes, we'll all learn to value holidays, but life generally, I guess, and our freedoms. And I think that's something that certainly is coming out when a lot of our members are speaking to, our travel agent members are speaking to their customers.
All right, Julia, thank you very much indeed. The conversation's made me want to have a holiday, but sadly that's not an option right now.